against Southampton in tonight's Premier League game. I'm still joined in the studio by Nedum and by Paul. If you have any questions that you would like to ask them, any sort of tactical analysis you want from that first half, any opinions you want from that first half, the WhatsApp number is on your screen now. You can also ask us on Twitter using hashtag AskMDL. Matchday Live, hashtag AskMDL. I certainly have a lot of questions for both of our guests now. So, Nedum, to start with, not the first half we were perhaps expecting. City looked a little bit out of sorts today.
Do you know what? I don't think it's that bad, but I think perceptually it's worse because Southampton scored. You know, from that point, we've seen times where they pass and probe, and it's not like they score tons of goals every first half or anything like that and just have the game wrapped up by half time. So, you know, if it was 0-0 and you saw this, you'd be like, well, come on, they can still do it and so on. But I think once you concede a goal like that, it sort of changes people's perceptions a little bit. But yeah, I think City have had the best chance of the game with Sterling. But, you know, this is it. This is the Premier League. Southampton, they've scored the goal. They've got something to hold on to. And I think they're going to play as such. So the difficult task just became that little bit harder.
Yeah, let's have a little chat about their goal, Paul. It came in the 7th minute. It was Kyle Walker-Peters. Now, it's only the 14th goal that City have conceded in the Premier League all season. To score against us, generally you have to make it a good one, and it was certainly a great finish from him.
Yeah, it was a great move as well. I don't think I'll ever score a goal like that again, you know, especially as a fullback. No disrespect to people that have played fullback throughout their career.
Disrespect them, mate. Go away, fire away.
But what a finish, you know, and saying we've only conceded 14 goals all season, it's going to take something special to beat Ederson, and, you know, the technique, the finish was unstoppable. Nothing then Ederson could have done about it. And it was at a time in the game, I know it's 7-8 minutes time, but we were starting to really take control of the game as well then. And as Nedum said, you know, it changes people's perception of what happened in the first half. So I'm still all right. I'm still confident. You know, I think especially leading to the end of the first half, I thought Southampton started dropping a lot deeper already. We're moving the ball well. They're going to get tired second half, and I can see more chances coming. You know, and if the chances are coming, it's down our left-hand side. You know, Cancelo's been in a few times. Jack Grealish has been in there. Phil, with the run that he had when he set up Raheem. You know, so that looks like an area that we could really exploit them and get into the second half.
Anything we could have done better defensively there, Nedum, or do we just have to accept that it was a brilliant finish?
It was a brilliant finish. I think the build-up to it, maybe there wasn't enough pressure applied to him when he first received the ball, I think from a switch from Romeo. And then from there, you know, if that's your man, you need to be able to track them, because you don't necessarily want to see people have a free shot on your goal, you know, anywhere in the box, even though it's somebody who hasn't scored a Premier League goal to that point. So every goal is, you know, you can find out a way. You can sort of look through a fine-tooth comb and say, well, this is what should have happened. But, you know, we're not really necessarily here to do that. So as a consequence, I think for me, you can look, the goal's there now. You just have to react to it, and I think an early goal in the second half of City will probably tee up a strong result.
Nedum's right. I think any goal that's conceded, you can look back at it and pick the bones out of it. But I think you've got to give credit to Kyle Walker-Peters for a fantastic finish.
Yep.
So statistically in that first half we had 75% of the possession, just the one shot on target. So really did feel like we were dominating possession in the game, Paul. Is it just a case of that we just have to be patient, we just have to keep going in the second half? Maybe just a couple of Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, just stepping up that performance just a little bit and then just staying calm?
Yeah, as long as it stays at 1-0. I'm really confident that we'll get back in the game, not just equalise, but to go on and win it. Just got to be wary of them in the counter-attack. You know, Broja has been a handful, like we said before the game. Shea Adams on the break. And as long as we look after that, we are going to dominate. We'll probably have another 75% possession again and create more chances. So I'm pretty sure that'll be the key at half-time. Just to be patient, but step it up a little bit, maybe a little bit more sharpness in and around the box, and more shots and goal, because as dominant as we've been, Fraser Foster's not really had to make a save apart from the one from Raheem.
Yeah, just the one shot on target there. A couple of chances for Raheem in that first half, Nedum. We already know that he loves playing against Southampton. What did you make of those chances, and what do you want to see from him in the second half?
I think the one which comes from across from Phil, I think he'd expect to score there. You know, so I think it's fair to say that we also expected him to do so. You know, that's a shame because he breaks his back to get into those positions when the ball's on that other side. And as for the rest of it, like, they could sharpen up certain things, but I think the key to it is being clinical. You're not going to be expected to score every chance or to create or to be perfect with everything that you do. But you can see this is one of those games where, like, if, say, just before half-time, there's a chance, if you take that chance, it changes the whole context of the game itself. So I think it's understanding the value of the next goal in the match. and making sure that it's something which your side has. So that means, obviously it's the side of it where you get yourself into the 6-yard box again and make sure that you take your chance. But it's also making sure you defend, because of the second goal. If they get their second goal before City do, then that's a whole different challenge altogether. So I think for Raheem, and as the case with just the front three, just try and take it upon yourself now to be the difference maker, to be the spark. Because one thing about City is once that spark arrives, that's when you see them at their absolute best. And I think they've got that within them today.
Yeah, and talking about defending there, you mentioned him earlier, Paul. Broge has been a constant threat to City in that first half.
He is. He's a big, strong boy. And I said before, because he's only 19, he plays with no fear whatsoever. And he has caused us some problems a couple of times. There was a possible, too tight offside. Well, one was tight, the other one he was definitely off. We've just got to be aware of that, But we've got two centre halves, and Ruben Diaz and Laporte, who are experienced and at the top of their game. So as long as that side of it's handled, it's going to be tight. They're going to drop deep. Their back five. They're going to sit 4 in front with Shea Adams dropping in, and have the one up top. So, but on the flip side of that, we've got 4, 5, 6 players that can produce a moment of magic out of nothing. And as long as we do keep the door shut at the other end, I'm sure we're going to go on and create chances. And we've got a strong bench as well. If it's not quite happening in 60, 70 minutes, we've got players that can come on and affect the game as well.
Yeah, do you think there might be any changes in the second half, Nedum, or will it be a case of just waiting and seeing at the start?
I would be opposed to changes, because I think there were certain parts of the game which I thought City were doing well. They were moving the ball quite well. There weren't a ton of sloppy turnovers or anything. So I think for some of the players out there, they know that they can perform better in just the finer details, and I don't think you need to make a change as a consequence. I think you see the way that Southampton are playing, and they're defending well. I think Salisu is playing particularly well. He's been very competitive, seems to be in the right area at the right time. But the fact is, maybe it's just about that quality. Maybe some of the crosses from the right-hand side need to be a bit better. So that's not a personnel thing. That's more of an understanding thing. I'm sure if they pass and probe like they have been doing, I think a big opportunity will come.
Lovely. Thank you, gents. Well, hopefully at full time we'll be talking about some City goals. Thank you all for sending in your questions on the WhatsApp and also using the hashtag AskMDL on Twitter. Got a few coming in now for you, gents. I like this one for you, Paul. It's from Douglas. He's from Fife, and he says, do you get home to Scotland often, and where's your favourite place to visit in Scotland?
Not as often as I would like. But I love going home, full stop. Born and brought up in Livingston, in between Glasgow and Edinburgh, 2 fantastic cities. Get married in Stirling Castle in Stirling, so I love going back up there as well. So, love going back, but as I said, I'd like to get back more often.
My auntie and uncle live in Livingston. Oh, we've got so much in common, Paul. Right, I love this one from Marty Nedum. I'm going to throw this one to you. Do you like cooking, Nedum? What is your signature dish? Weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I literally wasn't. So, sometimes when I reveal who I am, I sound like a psycho. But this is going to be one of them, I'm afraid. So, I don't like cooking. I can cook, but I don't like cooking because I don't like the amount of time and effort that goes into something which vanishes so quickly. So for me, I'm just not into it because if you do a good job, it's gone like that. Okay. And then there's the mess afterwards, and so as a consequence, I've turned my back on cooking, and now all I do is eat.
So who does your cooking then?
Everyone else on planet Earth.
Okay. And I think that tells us a lot about you. I definitely feel like we can psychoanalyze you.
My wife tends to do the cooking, yeah. Like I say, I will cook, but I don't enjoy it because that's the key to the question.
Yes.
See, I don't enjoy it.
Do you like cooking, Paul?
I love cooking, but I'm not very good at it, so my wife does it all.
Thank goodness for wives. Right, I like this question, Paul. What was Vincent Kompany's best moment at City, in your opinion?
I think there's lots of them. I think probably lifting the first Premier League title. I think that's got to be up there, 100%. And then, obviously, the goal here against Leicester, which turned out to be his last goal for the club, and you could tell the emotion after that he knew already that he was going to leave the club at the end of the season. So probably best and most emotional moment at the same time as well.
Oh, absolutely. It still makes me feel emotional now thinking about it. Nedum, what do you think was his best moment?
Yeah, I think that Leicester one, but then he's also scored against Man United, which is always nice. But yeah, I think that Leicester City goal, for the fact that nobody wanted him to shoot. And I remember at the time as well, the flow of the game was more so leaning towards Leicester. So to be able to get that goal in such a big moment, and for that to be, that's the captain. And I'm lucky because I knew him before he came to City. So to see that journey he was on, because when he first came, he was a defensive midfielder. You know what I mean? So come the end, this is an iconic centre back for the club. So yeah, that's probably the one for me.
Okay, and finally, we've got a question from Martha. We've had a question from Marty, and now we've got a question from Martha. Who would be your ultimate dinner party guest, dead or alive? Ooh, tough one.
Dinner party guest.
Obviously, someone else
someone that can cook. Someone that can cook for sure.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one. Paul, got anyone there?
Got to go with Kenny Dalglish. He was my hero growing up as a young Scottish footballer. So I always remember I managed against him when I was at Oldham, and I stood in the technical area and I just stared at him. Yeah. I hardly watched the game. I was just completely in awe of him. You know, he was my absolute hero growing up.
I think for me, we were lucky to go to South Africa with City in pre-season under Mark Hughes. We got a chance to meet Nelson Mandela, and like when he walked in, he just didn't even feel like a real human being. So he spoke with me, he mentioned me specifically because he knew where my heritage was and stuff like this. And I remember thinking, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, you know, I think it would have to be him.
What a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Brilliant questions, everybody. Thank you so much. You can keep sending them in. If we've got any time at full time, I will ask them some more. And also, thank you for sending in your guesses to Cryptic City. You can do that by using the hashtag #ManCity. Let's have a little look now, again, at Cryptic City. So all of us in the studio, we're all on the same page now as to who we think it is. I still don't know what the cocktail is. You don't always need to know all the pictures, though, to get the right answer. So, Paul, at this point, I reckon if you maybe tell us what the cocktail is.
That would give it away too easy.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
I still don't know what this cocktail is.
Yeah.
What can you give us that you think?
I think that, so we've got Al, obviously got VAR, VAR, and then row. So
somebody rowing a boat.
Yeah.
Row.
So you put the three together, and then that should give you a little idea.
Alvaro, did we have an Alvaro play for the club?
We did indeed, didn't we? Now, what is the cocktail though? What is the cocktail? Oh, that's gonna really annoy me. We will let you know at full time when I'll get Paul Dickov to explain what all the pictures are. Thank you for taking part. Send us in your guesses. Tell me what the cocktail is. Hashtag #ManCity. So the second half will be starting very soon. Alistair Mann and Sean Goater will be back with the commentary. So I'm just going to ask the gents for your final thoughts. What are you hoping for in the second half, Nedum? What are you wanting to see from City?
Just an early goal from City makes for a great second half. So I'm hoping for that to be the case, and then we can also like really get into it and get right behind the team and enjoy it as they push for a winner.
You sticking with your 2-1?
Well, someone can't stick with their prediction, so yeah, I'm going to stick with the 2-1.
I think he's talking about you, Paul. What are you expecting from the second half?
Just similar to what Nedum, and take a lot of look back at our last away game against Arsenal. We were 1-0 down, you know, and obviously got back into the second half, scored, equalised, and I would like it to be more comfortable, but we do love a last-minute winner, so hopefully that'll happen again.
I'll take a last-minute winner right now, you know, if you offered it me. Yeah, there is something special about that. Right, the teams are in the tunnel. The second half will be starting in a second. Alistair Mann and Sean Goater are with you to do the second half commentary, the best place to get your commentary. I said it at half-time on the Arsenal game. Hopefully at full-time we'll be celebrating a Manchester City winner. I say it again now. We'll see you at full-time. Fingers crossed, Blues. Come on.